Hey there, everyone, and welcome back to the Brand Bite podcast. My name is Hunter Myers, and I am super excited to be welcoming today's guest to the show. So, Kiley Steed is the founder of Wild Lotus Consulting and the creator of the Wild Women in Business community, where bold, soul-led women entrepreneurs come together to grow their businesses without sacrificing their values or their sanity. She's known for her blend of straight shooting strategy and big hearted encouragement. Kiley helps female business owners in holistic and creative fields build systems, structure, and marketing that actually works for them. Now, I'm really excited for Kiley to come on and actually tell us about how she got into business in the first place, and we're gonna dive into it. But first, please, Kiley, tell us your story.
Guys, I am so excited to be here. Thank you so much, Hunter. I started my business, Wild Lotus Consulting, back in 2023. I was never someone who grew up thinking, oh, I want to be an entrepreneur when I grow up. I was someone who was raised to find something sustainable, something that would have good, we'd be in the job forever and have a steady income. All those type of things is what I was taught to do when I was growing up. And so being an entrepreneur never even crossed my mind. I started at a credit union as a loan officer. I had a great job. I had supportive colleagues. I was able to move up really quickly and had a lot on my plate from a really young age. At 20 years old, I was a branch manager. I had these amazing opportunities and didn't always know exactly what I was doing, but I figured it out and had a lot of opportunities in this very corporate structure. And while I was very grateful for that, it made my career path kind of laid out for me instead of having me choose that career path. And so as I progressed and I worked for this financial institution for a decade and working in operations and project management and a lot of things I really did enjoy because I wasn't in alignment with what I loved. I was starting to get really, really burnt out. And I got some lovely tastes of things that really did feel in alignment with what I liked. I started exploring with yoga a little bit. I started going on some retreats. I started having some really fun dreams that didn't necessarily align with this career path that had been laid out in front of me. But although I had some really fun things going on, I still never thought I would be an entrepreneur. I had this dream of becoming a yoga teacher. And so I attended the Yoga Underground in Provo, Utah. It's an incredible, they do online and in-person yoga teacher training. I was in a yoga teacher training and I was for the first time, I think, experiencing this moment to actually slow down, to breathe, to be with my thoughts, to journal, to explore what was in my head and what I actually wanted and who I actually was, and discover what that world might look like for me. And while I was sitting in this yoga teacher training, and at this point I had business school under my belt, and I had this decade in finance, and all these really cool experiences that, were amazing, but had led to so much burnout and so much exhaustion. And I'm sitting there and I'm looking at these beautiful women who were creatives, they were artists, they were estheticians, they were working in these really creative fields, these holistic fields, these beautiful fields. They were creating art with their hands, with their bodies, with a passion and a drive I hadn't necessarily experienced and hadn't seen before. And it was so cool to watch them in their element and watch them create. And I had this realization that the piece that was missing for them in all of this art and creation and passion in bringing what they did out into the world was the business aspect. Was all of this that I had gone to school to learn, to the finance side of things, the marketing, the foundational business aspects. What is an LLC? What are taxes? Like all of these things that tend to make someone in that space just kind of shut down and take them out of their creative aspect. And so I saw this opportunity where what if I could be that person to bridge that gap and be someone who could come in and make these women in business successful and create a space where they could thrive and they could create their art and they could feel empowered as business women and as business owners. And it was the first time I had this realization of, oh, maybe there's another path, maybe there's another way. And from there, I was not a spontaneous person at all. I was like, I'm going to live and die in this job. I will retire at the same credit union I started at 18 years old. Now I'm, almost 30. Here is where I'm going to be. I thought, oh, no, I'm going to quit my job immediately and I'm going to start this incredible business and help these amazing business owners. It was so clear to me. And I don't think I would have been in that headspace had I not been in this yoga teacher training where I was journaling and meditating and all of these things that were opening up that capacity to learn and receive that information. And so that's when Wild Lotus was born, Wild Lotus Consulting. Long story short, back in 2023, that's when it all started.
I really, really love that. And I like that it came from you doing, like, the idea came from you doing something for yourself. You were like, look, like I've got to do something, right? Like I've got to do something to ignite this passion and joy. And how cool for a whole business idea to stem from that. And I love that you bring up that you really bridge this gap for business owners, because I feel like I speak about my services in a very similar way, right? Like you're bridging the gap from like creativity to structure. Whereas I feel like I'm almost bridging the opposite gap, right? Of like the structure to the
Totally.
creativity. So I think it is so, so cool that you bring that up. And I know just as you were kind of talking, and this was something that you had shared in your bio that I did not read out loud, but you really talk about how you kind of blend the masculine side of business with that feminine side. Do you mind like elaborating on that more for the people listening? Because I feel like you kind of like dabbled in it a bit, but I'd love for you to like really break it down.
Absolutely. And this is something like, as someone who works in a very structured space in business, I work on the operational side. I work with systems. I work in a very, what can feel very boxy as business. Like you're saying, you bring the creative, the colorful, the flow. My business has to do in a very like boxy space, it can feel sometimes. And so here's where more of the woo-woo side of Kylie comes out, where I like to talk about this in masculine and feminine energies. And this doesn't mean male, female, right? Masculine and feminine energies belong to all gender types. And masculine energies in business can look like things like strategy, systems. Sometimes it can be associated with words like hustle or tenacity or go, go, go or business plan. Things like that can be associated with the masculine side of business, which I think we need as business owners. Pieces of those masculine sides at times. Just like as individuals, sometimes we need that masculine energy in our lives. There's also the feminine side in business that we need. And had I not tuned into this feminine side, I would have never started my business, right? The feminine side is the intuition, it's the creativity, it's the flow. Um, it's such a beautiful part of business, regardless of what your gender is, that we all need to tap into. And it's something that, I mean, and I could go into so many stories of so many things in my business that I would have never discovered and I never would have tapped into had I not been exploring in that feminine space. And so while my business is structured in a lot of topics that are in more of that masculine energy and the strategy, in systems and operations, we have a lot of space within these systems, within our strategies, to bring in that feminine energy and to bring in our creativity and our intuition. Business isn't a one size fits all. We need our creativity, we need our intuition in order to be successful in business. And that's where I really believe that no matter what space we're playing in business, we need to bring both that masculine and that feminine energy to the table to be successful.
I think it's so important what you bring up, that you have to have both of these, because I think what we see a lot in especially marketing, and I'm on this soapbox right now, the bro marketing soapbox. So everyone tune out if you want,
Yes.
but I'm on the soapbox. I feel like it's very one-sided, a lot of what we wind up seeing. And so I really appreciate you bringing up, like, there are ways to bring femininity into these more masculine parts of business. And there are ways to be creative and have that intuition, even while you're using systems. And so I'd love to hear kind of an example. I'm very much an examples person. So do you have an example of a way that you maybe blend some of that feminine energy with the more masculine energy in your own business, so people can get a better feel of what this really looks like?
Absolutely. So, one of the biggest examples that I have right now is the Wild Women in Business community. So, this is a community that I offer that is built around this idea that we need the masculine and the feminine, and we need wellness in business as much as we need systems and structures. And so, this is a community of female business owners that are really able to come in. We're able to talk about the obstacles that are happening in business right now, but we're able to talk about what our intuition is telling us. What's our gut telling us right now? We're able to talk about experiences that we've had. We're able to talk about experiences that those in our circles have had. We're able to have that kind of gathering around the circle, gathering around, although it's virtual, together as women. I think when we can gather and we can talk and we can share, it does bring that more feminine energy into the space, regardless of who's there. Even though we are talking about, some more masculine type issues, like how do we launch a new product? How do we get our messaging across to a new audience? How do we, we're talking about these very technical things, but when we can come together in community and we can share and we can talk, we're able to bring in that feminine energy and that flow and that intuition. And it's able to bring a really beautiful blend where people can feel comfortable bringing their whole selves, whether that's, whoever they are in that day, whatever their energy is in that day, into the space and find a way to be successful with all sides of them, with their whole human selves.
Mm. I want to dive deeper into the intuition side of things, because I feel like women oftentimes, I'm gonna say women, but I would think feminine energy. I know it's not gendered, but I think even like women-owned businesses, I see a lot more talk of like leveraging your intuition. But I think that there are plenty of people who are still very nervous about like can I trust my intuition? Is this intuition or is this fear? Like, which stomach is talking to me right now? So can you help the listeners better understand maybe how you have harnessed your intuition, or how the women in your community do it, so they can maybe start to listen to theirs a little bit better too?
Yes. Okay. I'm going to give you some examples because for me, when I'm in it, I feel it and everything. It's like the floodgates start opening, and I'm like turning to my friends, I'm turning to my husband. I'm like, what's going on now? All these things are happening. Like, whoa, okay, is this, oh, what's happening? And it's such a magical place to be in, but it's something you really have to tune into. And it can be, yeah, is this fear? Is this my intuition? Is this like some weird, like, religious trauma coming back? For, people deal with all sorts of things that it can be really hard to sort through what we're dealing with in that moment. And so, for me, there are tools that I've brought in, like meditation, yoga, journaling, that help me sort some of that out when I am questioning what it feels. But for me, what I've started to do is really just trust what's happening and to go with it. I found that when I sit there and I question, and that moment's gone, it's gone. And so I'll give you an example, and it's something that it was very kind of a little silly thing that's turned into something kind of wild and big and beautiful. But I was laying in bed, this is about a month ago, I was laying in bed with this migraine, and I I was like, oh, you know what? I feel like I need to get online, and I just need to find some speakers for my online community. I need to find some speakers. I'm gonna just, this is the little ounce of work I'm gonna do. Otherwise, I'm gonna tune everything out. I'm gonna do this. And I get on there, and I really felt like I needed to do that. Kind of one of those weird things, like, is this my intuition? Is this just my little voice in my head telling me I need to do a little bit of work? But I was like, yeah, I really feel like I need to do this. Instead of being like questioning, I'm like, I'm just gonna do it. Whatever, here we go. So I go on there, I message, I'm looking for speakers, and blows up. I get like 200, 300, I don't even know, hundreds of people that are like, yes, which is so funny. I don't have that many followers on the space that I posted to. And I'm like, okay, here's my first clue that was my intuition. That was my intuition telling me that's what I needed to do. That was my actual gut. Now I need to continue responding to that. Instead of going, oh, that was cool, I need to give some gratitude and go, okay, thank you, whatever. Now I need to continue going with this intuition. And so then I was taking these responses. I was going, okay, there's something bigger here. What can I do? If I have this many people interested, and these are extraordinary, qualified individuals who are incredible speakers, who have a message to get out. And you know what? This just happens to also align with this goal I put out of reaching out to a large audience. Okay, the dots are connecting. I'm going to throw a summit together. We're going to have a virtual summit. It's going to also align with my Wild Women in Business. And so things are really starting to line up here. And I feel, okay, this is where I know it's that intuition for me, and not moving out of like scarcity of like, I need to hurry and throw a summit together. It's like, no, this is an alignment. Everything's feeling really good. I need to take action. And so for me in this instance, it was, okay, we're going to throw a summit. So I need to talk to all of these potential speakers. I need to find the most qualified individuals. I need to hire this individual who's been begging to work for me to sort through all of this. I need to take action. I need to take aligned action, because this is my intuition telling me that this is what's right to do. So, funny enough, that's how I met Hunter. So the intuition, I mean, it was an alignment, because here we are again, it continues. But that's an example, and we can talk about that summit and how to connect in a little bit, but that's an example of that aligned intuitive action, rather than I need more money. I'm going to act out of scarcity. I'm going to beg, or I'm going to do this, even though it doesn't feel right. I'm going to take aligned intuitive action. So that's one example that's happened recently, but it can be hard to tell, is my gut telling me to do this because I'm scared, because I need something, because I want something, or is this in alignment with what I'm wanting? And so sometimes that's, okay, I'm going to take a step back to breathe, to meditate, to journal. Okay, yes, this is aligned action. I'm going to move forward. So, bit of a ramble to that question, but that's what my opinion on the matter is.
Well, I really like too, as you were describing this process, that you recognized, okay, like I got a response that I wasn't expecting, right? But like I just did, my body was like, I think you really need to do this. And I also love that you acknowledge that you're like, now I don't know if maybe this is my brain just being like, you should still do a little bit of work today. But I like that when you got the response, instead of just diving right in, you said that you took a step back and had some gratitude. Like, okay, like, body, thank you for telling me which direction to go. Universe, thank you for guiding me whichever way you chose to guide me in this. And I found this. And I think that that pause is so crucial and is something that I know I can forget to do sometimes. Like when I'm on a roll, I'm like, go, 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 go. And that pause, it sounds like, is what really gives you the space to recognize and hear that intuition. And so I really appreciate you sharing that because I feel like it's one of the key parts that we just don't talk about enough.
It really is. I feel like that gratitude piece in the pause is so important. And there was like so many things aligning around that time. Like it was so wild. Like I got to go to this conference on this sponsorship. I got to go. There were so many things, but I grasped onto that gratitude and I was like, this isn't always going to be like this, but wow, am I so grateful that this is where I get to be today. And, there are days that aren't like that, and that's okay. And I have to be grateful for those as well. But gratitude and really going, this is amazing that this is where I get to be today, I think is such an important part of these moments of listening to our intuition and going through this journey of business ownership because it is a roller coaster. We don't know what the next day is going to look like.
Right. Well, I think even you just saying like the gratitude for the days that are slower, right? The days where, you don't have a ton of options. Maybe the days where if you were to allow fear to creep in, right? Like that scarcity mindset would be there, but finding ways to reframe it where there's a greater sense of appreciation for all parts of business. Now that you do that, how do you feel like that affects the way that you show up in business? So thinking about like the burnout that you had in your corporate job versus how you show up in your business now, how do you feel like that gratitude for the ups, but also the downs play a part?
Yeah, it's something that I need the constant reminder every day of what burnout looks like because it was also ironic, right? I'm doing this summit around this balance between the masculine and the feminine, the wellness, the burnout, like all of these things that we need to be successful in business. And as I was planning this summit, I found myself going into my burnout patterns. I found myself working late into the night, early in the mornings, my friends going, "Are you sleeping? Are you?" And me going, "Ooh, I'm building a summit around wellness and I'm going back into these patterns that I would find myself back in my corporate days of burning myself out." And I could see it affecting my body. I could see it, all these things, and going, okay, wow, even in these spaces where I am following my intuition and I am doing aligned work and I am owning my own business, we can slip back into that burnout so easily. And so bringing an awareness to what that looks like for me is my first step and going, okay, here we are going into old habits. Let's take a step back. Let's take time for us, for our self-care, for whatever that gratitude, mindfulness, wellness practice looks like. For me, that's meditation and journaling with a nice little dose of yoga in there. And then building that into my day to day. Because if I don't have that, then in my day to day, my business can't thrive. My mind has to be healthy for my business to be healthy. And so it was interesting in, when I was in this state of like receiving and enjoying and being so excited about all these things, I went right back to my patterns of burnout. And I had to take a step back and go, oh, we've been here. We know what this feels like. And so let's go back, practice what we preach and not go to that nasty place of burnout.
Yeah, well, something that I think is so key that you shared here is that you are aware of what your burnout patterns are. And so you are able then to recognize, okay, wait a second, like I'm starting to do exactly what I did. So before the like burnout snowball really gets rolling, right? You're like, okay, let's stop the train for just a second and get back on the right track that we want to be on. And so if you're listening to this, guys, I want you to really think about, okay, like what are some of your patterns? What are some indicators to you that maybe you're pushing yourself too hard, or you're not in alignment, or you're not following that intuition, or maybe you're following it but you're following it kind of hard, and or maybe grinding the gears a little too much. So really think through that. Kiley, I want to talk a little bit more about the summit that you have started. So we talked about how it kind of came to fruition, which is how we met, and I was so excited when I saw your post come. I was like, "Oh my gosh, like this sounds awesome!" And so tell us a little bit more about what you have planned at this summit.
Oh, yes, I'm so excited. I'm so excited if you couldn't tell. So this is going to take place 1 month from when we're recording this. So it will be on October 2nd and 3rd, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. Mountain Time. So wherever you are in the world, that's Mountain Time. We have incredible speakers from all over the globe. These are speakers who talk about amazing topics like what Hunter has to share around branding, marketing. We have designing your offer. We have getting out of burnout, avoiding burnout. What are those indicators you're in burnout? Like Hunter was sharing, we have amazing stories of resilience. We have some midday yoga, wellness, breath breaks built in there because, ooh, we need it. And this is really built to be that community, the community that can be there for each other, that can share experiences. I wanted to take what we have in Wild Women in Business and really expand it to a much broader audience. And so while that can be difficult in a virtual summit atmosphere, we're going to do everything we can to really feel the energy of those who are in attendance. And so we have a virtual community aspect through a Facebook group where you can connect to other individuals in the group. I've made some really amazing connections through Facebook group. Facebook is not my jam, but Facebook groups, I've made some amazing connections and individuals I'm so grateful to have in my life in those groups. We will of course have replays if you can attend live because those are long days. And not everyone can spend 2 days in front of a computer, and I don't expect that from anyone. But this is a space where we have speakers that will come through and share topics on that masculine and the feminine energy, things that you can not just listen to and go, great, I want to do that one day, but have tactical steps that you can walk away and do right away. We'll have giveaways, we'll have all sorts of fun things. I just really want this to be a space where someone can come in and feel the energy that I know these speakers have within them. I talk to every single speaker one-on-one, just like we did, Hunter. I talked to them over Zoom. I felt their presence. I felt their energy. I heard their message. I picked them for that exact reason. They didn't just fill out a form. They're not just here to pitch. They're here for the right reasons. And because they're passionate about what these women will experience in coming to the summit. And so it is going to be such a special space. I'm so, so excited. I really, your listeners will have an opportunity to get a discount, of course, using code Hunter. I know we'll have some things linked for them to get to that. But yeah, it's going to be a space for women who are in business but feel that craving to do work they're aligned with, that want to listen to their intuition, but also build just really incredible businesses that can make the impact they are wanting to make.
Yes, well, I really am so excited for this. I actually scanned the other speaker list to see who else was speaking, and I know a couple of the people on the list too who are absolutely
Yay.
wonderful. So I know that you have curated a very awesome group. And everyone, like Kylie said, I will have the links as well as the discount code for you in the comments so you can sign up. I think it's going to be a really great opportunity to attend something that really is about making aligned choices for yourself and your business. Because I know that sometimes when you attend a summit, it feels like you need to implement everything. And something that I really appreciate about the way that Kylie is setting up this event is it really is take what you need from it and leave the rest. And I love that you've incorporated the breath work and those intentional pause moments for people. Because you're right, like it can be a lot to sit at a computer screen all day long, trying to keep up the energy, trying to stay engaged. And I just really, really appreciate that you have taken that into account in forming this, especially on such a fast timeline. Like the idea hit, you were like, we're running with it, we're doing it. And I think that you have done an excellent job pulling everything together so far. I do have one, I guess two actually, final questions for you. And I'm really enjoying asking these, so I'm excited to hear what your answer is going to be. Thinking about your brand, what is one thing that you really, really love about it?
The thing I love about my brand right now is we we are really diving into this word that is upsetting some people, but I love it. And it is the word wild. It is something that it's in our name, Wild Lotus Consulting, Wild Women in Business, the Wild Women in Business Virtual Summit. And it is so funny some of the feedback we get like, oh, wild women, like, ooh. And it's like, no, we are wild. We are doing things differently. We could care less. We are wild. We do it how we want. We listen to our intuition. We are wild. And it is something I refuse to change, despite the haters. We are wild women and we are here for it.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Well, I freaking love that so much. We're like, no, like, who cares what the haters are gonna say? Like, this feels right. This is what we're doing. And I also want to say, like, as a brand designer and strategist, I think that is such a great mentality because here's the deal, folks, listening to this. You're always gonna have someone who doesn't like your idea. Like, there's always going to be that one person. So sometimes you just got to let it go. Like if you're really feeling it, like let's make it happen. Which brings me to my final question for you, Kylie. What is something with your brand? So we talked about the thing that you love. What is something with your brand that you wish you were doing differently?
Yeah, one thing I'm working on right now is being more inclusive to non-binary folk, those that don't necessarily identify under the women umbrella, but who belong in our space. And it's something as a certified LGBTQ business that it's important to me. And I recently went to a conference, spoke with a lot of individuals who are in the non-binary community. It's something I am striving to do. I really appreciate their feedback. And it's something that we as a company and within our brand are striving to do to be more inclusive to those that belong in our space.
I freaking love that so much. Kylie, seriously, you have been awesome. I am so excited for the summit. Everyone, oh, and how can people get in contact with you? I know we're gonna have the summit stuff. I'm like, oh my gosh, I almost forgot. How can people
Yes.
get in contact with you outside of the summit?
Yes, Summit is our thing right now, so I'm glad that's what we're covering. We are Wild Lotus Consulting on Instagram, wildlotusconsulting.com. Yeah, that's our handles everywhere. That's how you'll find us.
Perfect. And I will make sure that all of that information is in the show notes. Kylie, thank you again so much for coming on. This was great.
Thank you, Hunter. Appreciate you so much. Excited to have you at the summit.